Ito ang DWDD 1134 kHz AM. Balita, impormasyon at musika. Ito ang DWDD AFP Radio. Boses ng Kawal Pilipino.
Kayo ay nakatutok sa DWDD AFP Radio. Kami po ay kasapi ng KBP, kapisanan ng mga broadcaster ng Pilipinas.
Tagapagtanggol ng kapuluan.
Pagpagbantay ng ating karagatan.
Nangangalaga sa kapayapaan.
Naglilingkod ng buong tapang para sa bayan.
Namumuno ng may dangal at katwiran.
Para sa masagaan.
At mapayapang pamayanan.
Sa dagat man,
Lupa. O himpapawid.
kami ay laging handang tumulong.
At kumaban.
Kami ang Naval Forces Southern Luzon, ang iyong bubong dagat sa timog Katagalugan.
Mga katropa, alam mo ba na ang DWDD 1134 kHz AFP Radio ay ang opisyal na radio station ng Sandatahang Lakas ng Pilipinas na binubuo ng Army, Navy at Air Force na siyang maghahatid sa inyo ng mga balita mula sa ating Armed Forces at iba pang impormasyon. Mga katropa, hanapin at ilike kami sa Facebook, Twitter at YouTube. DWDD AFP Radio, ang boses ng Kawal Pilipino.
Mga katropa, para lagi kang updated sa inyong sandatahang lakas ng Pilipinas, siguraduhin naka-like at follow ka sa AFP Radio DWDD Facebook page at nakatune in sa 1134 kHz AFP DWDD. Panoorin ang weekly documentary program ng AFP Radio na Ang Inyong Kawal, Sabado alas 8 ng gabi. Simulcast po ito sa Inyong Kawal Facebook at YouTube channel. And keep up the good work sa team. Ayan, Media and Civil Affairs Group, CRS-AFP, maraming salamat po sa inyo.
the government to identify the police officers or the police and how they move towards crime prevention. And it would seem that they were able to see this particular identity, which is patungkol doon sa pagsalo lang, pag-react lang. So reactionary lang ang kanilang police. So from that identification, our friend was able to share with us that in her field, she was able to identify this direction towards identifying or towards the prevention of crime towards the juvenile. So, magbabalik po tayo. We'll be right back. And when we come back, we will now talk about the practice of Miss Laureline Soler, Coach Laureline. So, wag po kayong alis, magbabalik pa rin po ang programang Anghel de la Guardia. Ako pa rin po, si Mike La Guardia Datuin. Kayo pa rin ay nakikinig sa programang Anghel de la Guardia dito sa La Guardia News Online.
Magandang gabi po. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Kami po ay miyembro ng PSPG Ladies. Inaanyayahan po namin kayong manood at makinig sa programa ni Mike La Guardia Datuin, ang La Guardia News Online. Basta PSPG, service first, because our service to people is our service to God.
Those are police women from the Philippine National Police, Police Security Protection Group. They're very active in supporting the community here. Thank you very much, Pipo Dulce Laborero, who's listening right now and watching. Nolito D. Onkit, good evening, sir. Watching from the Regional Police Security Protection Unit, Region 5. Joffer Basco Iba, watching from RPSPU 1, Regional Police Security Protection Region 1. Sir, ma'am, God bless. Thank you. Ate Feli, Kuya JSL, maraming salamat sa pakikinig. Ha? Thank you for joining in. And Joffer Basco, yeah, okay, I was able to say that. So thank you for listening and joining in sa ating programa. Kayo pa rin po ay nakikinig sa palatuntunan ni Mike LaGuardia Datuin dito pa rin sa LaGuardia News Online. And we are still with Ms. Laureline Soler from all the way from France. So as you were saying, Coach Laureline, from what you are doing now towards the identification of crime prevention through the juvenile society, can you give us a little background of what is it that you do?
Yes. So what I'm doing is that I'm helping on the prevention aspect, which is like helping youth, because they're easier to just like they can change easily and they have the time to change, like have a new life. So I am helping youth to get out of crime, like just create a new identity and decide for something better for themselves. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm helping.
How do you do this?
So how am I doing that? Am I doing that? Like what I'm doing is I am going to schools, I am going to jails, I am going to educational center, I am going like anywhere where you can find like youth who are just like going into delinquency, like having like high risk youth, or like they have completely like they're already in jail, they killed someone, they did something wrong, whatever. Like the context is pretty violent anywhere I am going. So I am going, and most of the time it's like either small sessions, either a full week. For example, when I'm going in jail, it's for a full week, and I'm having a group and I'm accompanying a group. So I have like 10, 12, even sometimes more youth in jail, and they're supposed to be ready to get out. Like their sentences is almost over. They're going to get back to society.
Okay.
And so what I'm doing is preparing this moment of getting out with them.
Right.
That's really intense. And what I am working on that is pretty different. Like I do not want to say this is the French approach, because that would not be true. I am not so much representing France. What I am doing is actually very rare, but it's getting more and more normal. I would say like people are understanding. I am not working.
Did you design this on your own? Did you design this from your identification of what it needs?
Yeah. So what happened is
probably we can call it the Soler approach.
Yeah. Just to
So
say,
it's more personalized.
I don't want anyone to think that this is what the country is doing, because that's not true. But what I saw when I was younger, what happened is that I grew up. I grew up in a very violent area, and I saw crime and delinquency, but I was inside. That was my friends.
Right.
We were just all together. We grew up together. We were kids, and then suddenly we were teenagers. And I saw my friends like lost in addiction, lost in, this need for adrenaline and doing something all the time. And, so I was watching all of that. And then when I was 15, my first friends were sent to jail. And that was a shock. I was like, that's very strange. When you grow up with someone, you're very used to see that person every day, and suddenly this person is not there anymore. And it feels like a small death somehow. It's very strange. Like the feeling is very strange. And I was like, what is going on? And this person was sent from jail to an educational center. So the judge decided this person can be saved. So we're not sending that youth in jail, but in educational center. I didn't know what it was, so I checked. And I was like, that's amazing. I love it. The concept is very good. Like, we're going to just help him be a better person because he has the potential. I grew up with him. I just
Through
know.
education?
Huh?
Through education?
Yeah, I was like, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful concept. And when I watched like on Google, it was educational center have a better rate of reinsertion in society. Like, there is not so much, I don't know how to say that in English, like people do not commit crime after. Like in jail, when you go to jail and you get out of jail, most people, it's like 60, 70 to 80% of people are going to do crimes again. So it's like you just went to jail and nothing changed. So it's like very useless. And I call that like the kindergarten for like delinquents. We put you in a room, locked up, and we are waiting for something to happen. Nothing is going to happen. You're not going to change just because you are looking at the ceiling the whole day. Like, you need to reflect, you need to develop something.
So it does not.
So I was looking at the educational.
It does not rehabilitate.
Yeah, definitely not. And it's almost even the contrary, because we're going to bring you food.
They get worse.
We're going to decide for you, all of you, the hour that you eat, the hour that you wake up, the hour that you cannot go outside, the hour that you can go outside. Like, everything is controlled. So you have zero responsibility. We want you to be responsible, and we put you in a context that you have no responsibility, and we decide everything for you.
I have a question. Is the juvenile facility same with the detention facility of regular convicts, or they're separate?
I don't know what you mean. Is that like in the same building?
Is the regular jail? Is the regular the juveniles are placed in jail, right? Or they have a different juvenile facility for juvenile delinquents?
Like, you have, if you are youth and you are sent to jail, you are in jail, and you have a specific cell, maybe in a specific building, but there are not so many youth in jails in France, because we're trying the more that we can not to put youth and very young youth in jails. But there are still like buildings in jails specifically for youth. They are separated
but
from
they are they're separated from the population, from
they stay
the
only
convicts.
between youth. They stay only between youth, and they have schools, because like in France, you have to be in school until 18. So if you are under 18, you are in jail, but you're in a very specific place in jail. You cannot be with the others, like inmates. You need to be like only with the people that are the same age as you are. But if you are sent in an educational center, it's a bit like jail, but it's not in jail.
So it's like a stay-in school. So it's like a school wherein you get to sleep there, you get to live there.
Yeah. What you have that is different is that when you are in jail, if you are a youth in jail, you have like, you are going to be in jail. That's the jail environment, and you will have no education. If you are in, like you are going to have school, okay? But school and education is two different things. So you have only school if you are in jail, but if you are in an educational center, then you are accompanied by educators. So people were there working with you to help you build a life, which is different. In jail, you do not get that. No one is helping you kind of building a life. So that's the biggest difference. And they're not, when they're in an educational center, the building is completely closed. So you are locked in the building, but you are not in a cell. You are in a room. You have a bedroom. It's not a cell. And most of the time you have a big garden, and you have a lot of activities, like you're going to ride some horse, you're going to do some gardening, some painting, I don't know. They're doing sport and arts. It's like educational.
Right. Go ahead.
So what happened?
What gave you? Yeah.
Yeah. So what happened is that I had a lot of hope for those educational centers. Then I realized when my friend got out that it was not that good. Like it was very good, but it was not the deep inner transformation. So what happened is that he went to the educational center. He was given a diploma. He was doing a training there. So he had a diploma, then he had a job, then he was let out. And when he was out, he was working, he had money, he had like a place to live. And he was like, my whole life, I was complaining about not having those things. And now I have them and I am still super sad. And I still do not understand what this whole life is about. And I was like, we have missed the point. Education is supposed to give you an understanding of the goal of your life, the meaning, the purpose of your life. It's supposed to help you understand who you are and what you want to do in your life. And he didn't have that. So he was still completely traumatized, but now he had money, he had a job. That's good, but that's not enough.
How did that happen?
That's not enough.
How did that happen?
So, like, I mean, he was helped, and then what happened is that he went back to jail. Because
why is that?
Having a job is not enough. So most of the friends, like in France, what we're mostly trying to do is help youth get back to work. Like find a job, go back to work. I don't know why we think that when people have a job, they're not going to commit crime anymore. That's very strange. Like this concept is very strange to me. So when I arrive in jail, the first thing that I do is that I am being very clear on the fact that I am not helping people to get a job. People can get a job without me. They're not stupid. They know how to get a job. So I am not helping them do that. So I am saying...
So how do you... Right. So how does your process work when you go to jail? For example, there's a jail that you have already identified and you're working with some groups like foundations, right? Yeah. How does it work on the jail itself? Can you guide us through the process of what you do? Like you said that you tell them that you're not there to give them a job, but what is the process?
So the first thing is the jail understands that it's very important for the prisoners, if they get out, to be ready like emotionally, not just having a job, but I am emotionally ready to go back to society. So that's what I'm helping with. And of course, that's what is going to help you if you have a job to stay in this job and not go back to crime. So what I am doing is that I arrive. I can tell you the whole process, like the different things that I'm working on, and you tell me what you want to know more about. So the first thing when I arrive...
Just go ahead with the process.
I arrive in the room. There are 12 prisoners in front of me. I say, hello, welcome in this space. I am in jail with them. I'm like, we're going to have a full week together. First thing first, the context is you are not bad people. We need to create a safe space for us here. I do not see you as prisoners, criminals. I don't care. I do not want to know what you did to arrive here. And I don't know. When I arrive, I have no idea what they did to get in jail. So I am just like, I am here to serve you for a full week, 5 days together. I deeply believe that it's not because you are in this room that you need to stay forever in this situation. What happened to you is not determining the rest of your life. Your life is not meant to be this way. So like we create the context right at the beginning of why I am here, what I'm going to help them with. And especially I ask them all the time, who already worked at least once? And everyone just like, I've already had a job in my life. I've already worked. And I'm like, okay, so you do not need me for that. Then I'm like, who was working when you were sent back to jail? And at least half of the prisoners were working before getting back to jail. And I'm like, so even having a job doesn't help you stay out of crime. So this is not even the solution. So we're not going to go to, what do you want to do with your life? What is your career? Whatever, I don't care. I'm like, you are here because you have emotional struggles with your life. So we're going to fix that. And I am very clear. So people in the room, and I say that, if you are not okay with this process, you can leave right now. No one is forcing you to be here. You can go out if you do not like it.
Voluntarily.
Exactly. So that's in jail. In other contexts, it's not like that. But in jail,
That's
it's
the
like
5 days. That's the 5 days that they have to go through with your program. Right?
Yeah. And
So
I am like,
preparation, emotional preparation, and the other one is the proper identification or acceptance of where they are and where they need to go.
yeah. So what we're doing is that having the context clear, and only the ones who want to be here stay in the room. Then it's like emotional education. So emotional education is like understanding how the body works, how the mind works, how the hormones work. And most of the time it's a conversation on adrenaline and trauma. Because the reason why they're here, like trauma works in so many different ways, but in jail, the conversation is always around like, do you know how your hormones work? And they're like, I don't know, what is an hormone? And I say adrenaline, and they're like, I know adrenaline. I want some adrenaline. And I'm like, no, you do not want adrenaline. You are addicted to adrenaline. You need adrenaline to function. So that's the first.
So this is like a therapy session. There's like a therapy session that is going on the small number that remains, right?
That's huge therapy, actually. Like, they do not know the first day when they arrive, but from the third day, they're all crying. Like, actually,
so they're now you're able to tap into their inner emotional problems, the ones that they are not aware that they have, the reason why they're doing what they're doing, because there are unresolved issues on the traumas that they went through when they were young or from their past. So just to properly put it into context, so you're addressing their traumas by going through a therapy that puts them in identification of those traumas and resolve it so that they can come out of jail more prepared, more acceptable or more accepting on the circumstance that they are in, and more in realization to ready themselves of the challenges of the outside world. Is that pretty much sum it up?
But 5 days is a long time. So we're not doing only that. What I gave you right now is just like the first.
Is that day 1 and day 2?
No, that's half a day. That's half a day. Then we have like the whole vision and preparation. You want to have a huge vision for your life. If I told
goal setting,
if I told you that you can be anything, you can do anything, you can decide what you want and change your life. You have even more power because your life story is very specific. You are somehow very unique. You have a unique experience. So you are stronger and like you can do something strong with that. So I am doing like context, working on understanding emotions. Then we're just like doing a lot of exercises on changing the emotions that is like very practical. It's one thing to speak about emotion, it's another thing to like change the hormonal state and the emotional state. So we do that with a lot of different exercises. Then we have all of this process of creating a vision, setting some goals. We have a whole process on understanding society, like how does it work? What are the problems? Where do I feel some injustices, things that are not working so well in society? And where can I find my place? What is my role? If I want to know who I am, I cannot just decide. I cannot wake up one morning and I say, I am this person. I am going to do that. You always define yourself in the context of an environment. So the way they have been defining themselves is from the environment with like the criminal culture, the delinquency culture, the suffering culture. And we're going to change that because we define the identity from what is the society needing right now. You are going to be the one to meet society's needs. You are going to have goals and take a place that is changing society. But for that, we need to understand what is the problem of this society. So this is a very specific moment of understanding how it works. And they're just like listing all of the problems: the pollution, addictions, criminology, violence, like all of that. They're just like seeing all of the problems. And then, oh, I could help on that. I could do that. I could be that kind of person. I could make a change because this thing I understand. So they're just like reflecting on all of that. We set goals, and then I teach them how to reach those goals, like the science of success. Like you could be anything. You just need to know how to achieve anything. So then we're going through this process of having a strong mindset. What does it mean? What do you need? What is the level of leadership and courage that you need to have? Making a plan. You want to reach that goal. That's perfect. That's amazing. Let's have a plan, and a strong plan. And then we're going through all of the, I would say, like the attitude, the capacity of this thing is what is going to prevent me to achieve my goals. So we learn how to say no. I train them to say no to what is not good for them. So they define, they analyze, they say this thing is not good for me. And we learn how we're going to say no and stay focused on the right path.
Yeah, I just had to highlight what you said because that's very important. Having a strong mindset is where you should be able to focus on, because if you do not have that strong mindset, then it will be very soft for you to be able to face life on life's terms, because everybody are already strong in their inclination on what they want to happen in life, especially in the streets. So if you have a weak mindset, then you're kind of going to be railroaded by others, and you will be easily swayed into doing the wrong thing because your mindset is kind of weak. That's a very good concept.
Yeah, and it's strong to the point that when I'm helping, for example, 12 guys in big jails, so there are a lot, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of prisoners, I'm helping only 10, 12 of them, but it changes the whole floor of the building. When I have one in my group, then it changes the floor where there are all of the other prisoners, because one can have such a huge impact when the mindset is strong. So very often, I think I am one of the programs in jail that people started like asking to be in. They would write to the director of the jail saying like, please, I want to be in the next session. So that's very, like, I'm very moved when I hear that they're actually doing that or changing a whole floor. They're really helping each other to change when they have the tools. Like you really definitely need the tools if you want to change your life.
On that note, it's a very refreshing idea what we just heard coming from you, and from how you do your advocacy. Is how are you? What is your success rate now? From when did you start doing this?
I started, I think, 2 years ago.
2 years ago, wow.
Yeah.
And your batting average now, or success rate, is how many kids have you helped?
Okay, I do not have the numbers. I'm going to try to fix something. I think like
round off number.
Yeah, it's, I think, almost 100. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're doing this just by yourself, or what foundations or group are accompanying you in this advocacy of yours? This is an advocacy or a profession?
Yeah, it's a profession, yeah. But it's when I'm going to jail, I am working with the whole institution inside the jail. When I am working in schools, then it's with the different people in the schools. When I am going into education, like I'm always working with the people who are like right there, but I'm not really, I don't know what you mean by working with them, because when I am in the room, I am in the room and I'm just by myself.
No, I
with the
mean,
people.
no,
So-
I mean, do you have a partner? Do you have a partner in running this group, or
No.
or do
No,
they
I
hire you, or you just volunteer coordinate with the jail system?
Yeah, what's happening is that they call me and then I come for a week. So they are the one
Okay.
hiring me, and like, and sometimes
You
they ask
do
for
this,
more, so it depends. Like when it's in
right?
jail,
So you
most
do
of the time, I just come and I just do 1 week, and then I
so
am gone.
you do this as a professional psychologist, or
As a coach.
why do they call you
A coach, I think.
as a coach? So it's
Yeah.
more coaching, mentoring, and guidance for all of these children that are halfway towards going out of jail. Is that right?
Yeah. So yeah, it's
So
difficult to know exactly what is the result of all of that only 2 years after. What we know for sure is that in the jails that I went in, the directors of the jails always just like, sometimes I had a situation that the director was crying. She was like, "What did you do? Like, what did you do? I do not recognize them." Like sometimes physically you cannot recognize them from the beginning of the week to the end of the week. And I mean,
right.
even for myself, their faces completely changed. Because the identity changed during those 5 days. So it's like a full transformation. And for some of them, not all of them, but some of them, it's like a metamorphose. Is that a word in English?
Yeah, metamorphosis. Yeah.
Yeah. So some of them, I actually like, I wouldn't even know that's the same person from the beginning of the week. Crazy. I had one youth. He was like
We have a friend here.
Yeah.
Right, we
that
have a
was
listener. We have a listener here that said that in Dr. Loy Reyes, the Vice President for Campus Security and Safety, said we call them here as a life coach. So I think that's your identity there, a life coach.
Yeah. So yeah, I had one youth. When he arrived, we thought that he had like a neurological problem, because when he was speaking, he had like something on his mouth, and his mouth was always just like doing something very strange that prevented him to really speak correctly. And we thought it was neurological, but at the end of the week, it was completely gone. It didn't exist anymore. And we were like, oh, actually, that was trauma. That was just because he was traumatized. He couldn't speak because he was traumatized. That was not because he had a neurological problem. So we have this kind of metamorphosis all the time, and it's very strong. And I've had some youth getting out of jail. So what happened is that sometimes they do not get out of jail. Sometimes the judge, for something very old, push some other sentences. So I have youth that I accompany, they're ready to go. They're so well prepared, but then the judge just add some sentences. So what I'm doing is that I am trying to do my best when I'm here, and then I do not really know all the time what happens to them when I'm gone. Oh, I don't know. Am I just like by myself? I think Mike disappeared. Maybe he has like an internet problem, or I don't know. So I can keep talking. I don't know if you guys hear me or not. Yeah, anyway, like I do not know all the time what happens. And some of them get out of jail and write to me. And it's very beautiful. Some of them keep doing coaching with me after jail because they really want to make sure that they go to the end of the process and they really change their life. So yeah. I think you can you hear me? Is anyone in the chat can tell me if you hear me? I don't know, it keeps working. from the Philippines.
My internet.
No problem. I am sorry. I left because I didn't know if I was out
Okay,
or
I
not.
messaged you and I said, go ahead, I'm reconnecting.
Yeah, I was
But
already
that's
gone.
okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. My apologies. You know, that's one of the stories we have here in our country. We have a very weak internet. I don't know if you have. What do you know about the Philippines?
Not so much, but what I can say is that my favorite association in France, helping youth, is from the Philippines. So I don't know if
Oh,
you know, it's like Akai.
what's his name?
Akai.
Akay.
A-C-A, yeah.
Akay. It
Yeah.
means to carry.
Yeah.
Akay is yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I know from Philippines because like I met this guy from like I think this association was born in the Philippines helping youth in jails and they
Right.
they arrived in France and are trying to create the same concept in France and they're my favorite association in France because it's very spiritual and from what I understand the Philippines are much more spiritual than what we have
Right.
in France. So France is it's a very laic country so we're not allowed to speak about anything around religion, God, spirituality, even the word community is seen as something wrong. You know, we're not supposed to have a
Oh.
community.
Let me apologize to some of our viewer friends. We have Atifeli Real, Dazon Basca Hazon is watching from one of our regions here, northern region here in the Philippines. And of course, Dr. Loy Reyes is very interested. He said that, yeah, he called you a life coach. And he also said that motivating the unmotivated, finding their identities and life reformation. I think that which is what you are doing. So, with that, my friends, I apologize for our brief interruption, but I'm sure to my fellow Filipinos, you are quite used to that interruptions from our internet services, of which they promise good connections, good internet, but not really. They take our money but don't give us the right product. So that's very normal here in the Philippines, unfortunately. But there are facilities that are improving. And with what you are doing, just like what Dr. Loy was saying, motivating the unmotivated, finding their identities and life reformation. I think this would be the best, one if not one of the best identification of what you are doing, and we call what you are doing more of an advocacy because that's very draining, my friend. Emotionally, what
It's
you are
very,
doing is very draining.
yeah,
Or- so you have to really take care of yourself too, because when you guide them, when you listen to them and you try to make them understand in the concept of what your program is, that is where the draining part is, because you're also absorbing the energy that are coming from them that they are releasing from their own well, the way I call it, from their soul. we are
yeah,
the we are the vacuum of the negativities of the people that wants to be reformed, because they have to let go of that so that they could be able to, they have to unburden themselves. But it doesn't just go anywhere. It's the motivator, the life coach's responsibility to take it from them and them voluntarily giving it to you. So that's why I was caught up by Shamir's explanation of what you do. That's why I was intrigued, because a criminal entity would not be just a criminal entity if there is no root cause.
yeah,
So you are addressing it, and of course, with some of the clinical psychological effect, that is a very hard part of it. But that needs very professional help. But for those who are just part of trauma, part of society's frailties or unfairness, then probably you will be able to do a lot of good on that area. So,
Yeah.
with that, we're very grateful with what you shared with us. And as much as I would want to pick your brain and listen more to the things that you do, which is very inspiring, by the way, we're very grateful. I'm pretty sure there would still be a next time because you should be able to grab a part of your lecture and you have to share that with us because in a society where crime had already been uh, growing and catching up fast in the non-criminal world, it would seem that the concept of trauma and motivation and life coach is very effective because they need to listen to the right direction. There's okay, I have to read this for you. Dr. Loy Reyes just shared this. You know, Dr. Loy Reyes is the vice president of the Campus Security and Safety Management Association of the Philippines. We just don't deal with the aesthetics of crime prevention or security. We need to talk about how they can do it for themselves, so they would not be part of that society wherein they become um, part of the economics, or they become part of the numbers of crime. How do you say that? How do you identify them? They become statistics of the criminal world. So let me share this. Dr. Loy Reyes said that a Don Bosco school in the South have been working with the juvenile boys, and we call them as the Don Bosco Boys Town. And all schools of Don Bosco has a youth center, not only for the juveniles, but for the community youth to find their place in the community. Don Bosco is a big school, group of schools here in our country. I'm an alumni of this school. Um, they Saint John Bosco, an Italian, uh, 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 founded this school, and his uh, um, his belief was based on the culture of youth, the molding of youth. So he said, and this had been our concept of belief. As a kid, as a Bosconian, you must run, jump, make noise, but never sin. So that is the belief that is given to us. So you're free to be a child. Actually, become a child. Live it so that when you have fun in doing it, just remember that you should not sin. So this is a very vague identification of it, as you were saying that religion is not really it's a taboo when you talk about that. So it's a good thing because in here the concept of you said a while ago akai is more religious based. Yes, because we're predominantly what 80%, 70% Catholic. So our country is vested on that, and still the 30% are still religions. We have the Muslim and we have the Christians, and so on and so forth. So it's very uniformly or timely and pre-designed with what you're saying to be able to be heard by the Filipino people. Um, Here you go. I stand corrected. Saint John Bosco is the patron saint of the youth. By Dr. Loy Reyes. So with that, we're very grateful again with your sharing and your strong views on the positive mindset and what you do in your country. We're very inspired of your take and your calling, probably. I'll have to put it that way because, like I said, it's not easy because it's emotionally draining, physically draining with what you do. So I wish you well. So before that, before I say my good words and reasons for you, I would have to give you the floor to address our listeners from your words of wisdom and as their parting message, so that the Filipino people can have its takeaway from what you have just shared. Go ahead, Lorelai.
Yeah, I would like to add something on what you just said, because I am sure that the work that I'm doing and the work that we're all doing, like either in like schools, like teachers, educators, the policemen, anyone working with youth and working with like the I do not like this word, but like with criminals. I do not like. I hate that we put this word as an identity, because we do not want it to be the identity of the person. We want them to stop being criminals. So let's say anyone working in contact with people who have committed crime at some point. There is something so strong about who we need to be. The reason I can be in jail and I can absorb this energy and not fall into this energy, the only reason I can give them something else. And I have like so many stories of how they just give me some very negative energy and some discussion on killing people and committing crimes and very deep trauma. Like I've heard everything, I've seen everything. And the thing is, how do we, us, as people who accompany, people who help, like how do we become stronger? Because it's all about our own mindset. The stronger we are, the more loving, the more understanding, the more compassionate, but also the more firm and just and fair. Like the more we have like boundaries and clarity, the stronger we are and the more we can have an impact. So that's it.
Parting message, your thanks to our listeners and our viewers that tuned in to our program. Where can they contact you? Or let me just do it this way. So let me just again read from your what do you call this website, Lorelai Soler. Our guest has her own website on the name Lorelai Soler, method SMEE. So she said, at the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, I lost my motor skills following many psychological shocks, trials, and traumas. I was in a deplorable state, and all the years of therapy I had done, as well as my master's degree in psychology, did not seem to help me. Every day of my life, I ask myself these kinds of questions. Will I one day succeed in life, a fulfilling life, or will I remain eternally in the difficulties that suffocate me today? Is it possible that I will finally come out of depression, that I will heal my traumas, or must I resign myself to living my life like this? Am I cursed, or is there another life waiting for me after all this? To the rest of our listeners, she also said that maybe these are the kinds of questions you're asking yourselves too. So if that's the case, Miss Lorelai Soler has just shared with you her insights and had reassured you that it is possible to address these problems. It will be a much more fulfilling life that awaits you. Don't give up. Everything can change. And at the time that you will be asking yourself, as how she did, after you have gone through all the trials and difficulties for years, you would be able to get up and live life as it's at its fullest. That's my interpretation and take of what you posted on your website. So if you'd like to connect with Ms. Lorelai Soler, just get in touch with her website named Lorelai Soler. That's the first. That's the spelling on her name. Laureline, Soler. Type it in Google. You'll be able to see it. Again, Ms. Coach Loreline, it's been a grateful evening, a pleasurable evening, and insightful evening from your end. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
How do you say goodbye in French?
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Au revoir. À bientôt. See you soon.
Oh,
À bientôt.
see you soon, Ms. Loreline. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you.
So that's our program for tonight. Maraming salamat sa lahat ng ating mga tagapakinig at taga-subaybay ng ating programa. Medyo nosebleed, daming Inglesan. Pero maraming salamat po sa lahat. Ang lahat ay inaanyayahan muli ng PNP, Police Security Protection Group, Director Police Brigadier General Nestor Babagay, at ang lahat ng executive officers through its Public Information Officer, Police Major Evangeline Molina, PNP PSPJ, at ng Team PNP PSPG Advisory Group mula sa aming chairman na si Dr. Regis Romero II at mga members nito, along with my partner co-advisory group member, Brother Louis Domingo, to join us every Thursdays at 7 p.m. here at La Guardia News Online sa Basta PSPG. Service first, dahil trustworthy. Rizal Police Provincial Director Police Colonel Felipe Maragon at lahat ng executive officers, especially our Rizal Police Provincial Office Public Information Office staff and officers, along with all the chiefs of police and PCR officers, men and women of all 14 police stations of Rizal, wishes to remind everyone to join us every Tuesdays at 7 p.m. here at La Guardia News Online sa usapang may diwa, seguridad at kaligtasan. In connection, serbisyo publiko with team effort na may kalinga, Rizal PNP. Tayo po ay may replay broadcast every Saturdays at 3 p.m. via DWDD, 1134 kHz AFP Radio, and via online live through AFP Radio FB page. Binabati ko ang ating mga miyembro ng DWDD Broadcasters Group, mabuhay at lahat ng technical staff ng DWDD, 1134 kHz AFP Radio Group, through the first female AFP spokesperson, MCAD Commander and Station Manager, Colonel Francel Margaret Padilla, Tabor Lupa, Philippine Army, through the command leadership of the CRS AFP Commander, Major General Ramon P. Zagala. Tulad po ng lahat ng kwentuhan o usapan, tayo po'y palagi may umpisa at may katapusan. Naway marami po tayong napulot na aral at magagandang halimbawa at istorya na magsisilbing gandang gabay sa atin sa lahat ng hamon sa buhay. Pag tama ang kaalaman, tiyak ang kaligtasan at kapayapaan ng bawat mamamayan. Ito po ang inyong lingkod. Nagpapaalam at nag-aayaya na sa susunod na broadcast po natin muli tuwing alas 7 ng gabi dito pa rin sa La Guardia News Online FB page at sa himpilan ng Armed Forces Radio sa DWDD 1134 kHz AM band from every Saturdays from 3 to 4 p.m. and all its social media accounts at AFP Radio, Mike La Guardia Datuin, Anghel de la Guardia, Mike Datuin, La Guardia News at Anghel de la Guardia by Mike Datuin YouTube channel. Come 2025 po, babalik na po tayo sa ating mga regular broadcast Mondays. Makakasama na po natin muli ang ating PhilHealth at every Tuesday. So kasama pa rin po natin ang ating Rizal PNP at every Wednesdays. Babalik po natin ang ating mga special episode programs, special interviews at pati ang ating leadership discussions together of course with our partner brother Kuya Bong Nebria and Dr. Loy Reyes and brother Steve Cutler and my brother-in-law Chris Ward. Makakasama po natin sila para po sa kanilang mga insights on proper leadership. And of course, we'll be having our guests. Thursdays, PNP, PSPG. Kaya't atin po ang tabayanan ng mga programang ito na palagi po itong mag-replay tuwing Saturday sa AFP Radio. DWDD 1134 kHz po ito sa ating mga AM radios. Muli po, Mike La Guardia, Datuin, nagsasabi at nagpapaalala sa ating lahat na ang seguridad at kaligtasan ay responsibilidad ng bawat mamamayan. Mapasaan po tayo, lakasan ng loob dahil lahat tayo ay may Anghel de la Guardia. Thank you and keep safe. God bless everyone. Lahat po naman nakinig. Thank you po.
Ito ang DWDD 1134 kHz AM. Balita, impormasyon at musika. Ito ang DWDD AFP Radio. Boses ng Kawal Pilipino.
Kayo ay nakatutok sa DWDD AFP Radio. Kami po ay kasapi ng KBP, Kapisanan ng mga Broadcaster ng Pilipinas.